Hey folks, it's Marvin Cash, the host of The Articulate Fly, and we're back with another Central Virginia fishing report with Ethan Martin at TaleTellers Fly Shop. How you doing, Ethan?
I'm doing great today. How are you doing?
As always, just trying to stay out of trouble, and as always, I took a quick look at your weather, and you may not have gotten as much rain as folks on the other side of the mountain did out of the tropical system, but your temperatures are starting to fall, and maybe trout fishing is going to be in our future soon.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's one of the things that I've been a little bit excited about. I mean, I love bass fishing and I love the summer, but I'm excited for a little bit of a change here, and I'm guessing this storm is going to kind of serve as a somewhat of a transition into our more fall style weather patterns. But fingers crossed on that. However, we'll see, because even the bass fishing in this insane heat that we've been having is slowing down. So I'm ready for a little bit of an adjustment.
Yeah, and is it slowing down because the cicadas are starting to die off? Because that's the first I think I've heard that the bite's slowing down. I know the bite was different this year; it was more of a bait fish bite than a bug bite. But what are you seeing?
Yep. So pretty much yesterday when we were out in the water temps were like 85, which is pretty hot for smallmouth. So most of the fish that we caught were just 9 inches and under, and all on the banks. And pretty much all of them were on poppers. So that's a lot of fun. But if you're going out, me, I want to go and try and catch the biggest smallmouth I can. And we just weren't seeing as many of those fish. There's always an assortment of reasons why. But we did see cicadas falling into the river. We watched that happen like 2 or 3 times just in the span of like 3 hours. So that was pretty cool. Now, again, this is not the cicadas like the Brodex, the big one where you see 3 cicadas drop in 3 seconds. But it's enough to get them eating them for sure. And we caught a couple fish, and you could see like one of the bass we caught, actually, you could see one of the cicada wings in its mouth. So they're definitely keying in on those. Definitely worth having some poppers in your boat. But at the same time, bait fish still is, we've got a lot of fish on bait fish, and that's going to keep happening. So I would encourage you, if you're going out, you can throw the popper first, and then if you're not getting anything, swap over to bait fish, and that's pretty much where you're going to find yourself, with the exception of like, a tequila, crayfish here or there. But in terms of the trout fishing, it's really going to boil down to the water temps and then how much water we actually get from this storm. Because, we're recording it when we're supposed to get the rain. Supposed to get the rain Wednesday. I know in the past I have made statements in these, and then everything changed by the weekend because we got an actual, like, a deluge, or we got nothing. So I'm kind of assuming we're going to get a little bit, but it doesn't mean that it's going to make our small streams just flowing with absolute amounts of water, because you still got to factor in how much water the trees and bushes and grass and all that stuff soaks up. So my guess is trout fishing, all our smaller trout streams still will be low, even if they're up in the mountains. But you're going to start seeing temperatures that are definitely fishable, with Lynchburg having overnights of 50s. That just means our mountain streams are going to be even colder. So it's good news,
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about trout, Alan sent us a question. He wanted to get your 3 go-to trout flies and your setup for fishing them.
My 3 favorite. I think the one fly I've caught more fish on than anything else, like hands down, which is a dumb fly, but is a Frenchie. And I tell people all the time when they come in the shop, if you don't know what you're doing, tie on a Frenchie and either use an indicator or tie on a Frenchie and use a dry fly and kind of fish it as a dry dropper. And as long as you focus on your presentation, like where you're putting that fly in the water column, then, any fish is going to eat that. I feel pretty comfortable taking that fly anywhere and catching fish on it. So number one, just in terms of how many fish I've caught on it, that is the number one fly. They're quick to make too. My favorite dry fly, so I guess I'd say the one I've caught the most on there too, would probably, oh gosh, this is tough. For let's just say for brook trout, it's probably the 409, Jaeger's 409. I like that fly a lot. It has a lot of the things that I want out of a dry fly, which is it floats really well. It can support a dropper because I do fish a lot of dry droppers. Fish eat it. I mean, that's obviously important. And they're really not hard to tie. Once you get it tied, or once you tie up a couple, then, you can crank them out. So that's probably my favorite nymph would be a Frenchie. Favorite dry fly would be the Jaeger's 409. Then if I had a favorite streamer, it's probably a boogeyman, for trout. I have caught more trout on a boogeyman than probably any other, streamer. And, part of that is just confidence. I fish them a lot and I like, fishing streamers a lot. So like either an olive or a white boogeyman, which is, a minnow imitation. And I fish those most of the time on a sinking style line, and they're great fly. I fish it for smallmouth too.
Yeah, that's an old school Kelly Gallup fly. Yeah,
it is. And the cool thing about it is, it's fairly simple. Like most articulated streamer patterns, it's two hooks that are kind of like two woolly buggers. I mean, as sad as it is to say that, like, I'm not going to just minimize it down to saying it's just two woolly buggers put together, because there's a little bit more going into the construction of the fly, because you've got mallard wing or mallard flank on the top of it, which creates a wing, and so you can get a really cool like side to side swipe if you get the action of the your retrieve just right, which is pretty cool. I like that. I think it's a really good trigger. Like I said, I've caught a lot of fish on it. I've caught a lot of big trout on it too, which is always a pleasure. But so yeah, if you open up my boxes, pretty much any box that I have, which is like probably 30 of them now, but you're probably going to find one of those styles of flies in almost every box that I have, just because I trust them. And most of like selecting flies is a confidence thing. I've fished them for years now, and I just continue to go back to them because I know what I've done on them in the past,
Yeah, well, and with streamers, particularly those articulated ones, it's really important to know kind of how they behave when you retrieve, or otherwise you're kind of fishing in the dark.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, you take like the random person and, just throw in the game changer first, just one fly. If I just hand a game changer to one person, they're going to fish it, and, maybe they'll just do very simple retrieve. But if you put or if you put a game changer in the hands of somebody who knows how to fish them, they can make that thing do crazy stuff. Just because they've learned what the fly can do, how much if you twist the rod just right, how much that's going to swing it off to one side or the other. It's the same thing with like a dungeon, same thing with the boogeyman, a deceiver, or Shank's minnow. That one is another crazy one. If you can tie it right, you can make it do crazy things. It's like a fluke almost. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing with learning streamers, particularly, it's just a whole other element to the fishing, because you've got to learn how to retrieve, and what that retrieve looks like. Because yeah, you can just go slap it down in front of a fish and he's going to have a reaction bite and eat it. But if you want him to chase it down, then that's another story.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, you've got at least videos for 2 of those 3 flies on your YouTube page, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think I've done the Frenchie. I'm pretty sure I've done. Yeah, I did the 409 for sure. The boogeyman, I just say go look at Kelly Gallup patterns on YouTube. He did a pretty long video on that one, and like I said, that one's well known. No secrets in that fly pattern. They're easy to tie correctly, which is the problem a lot of people have with tying. Particularly, they want to avoid deer hair because it's annoying to them. So they kind of stray away from tying dungeons and that style of stuff. But the cool thing with the boogeyman is it's a wool head, so it's easier to tie, and it's faster to tie than deer hair. So that's another reason I like it.
Yeah, there you go. And, folks, we love questions at the Articulate Fly. You can email them to us. You can shoot them to us on our Facebook or Instagram page. And if we use your question, I'll send you some articulate fly swag, and we were into a drawing for something cool from the shop at the end of the season. And Ethan, before I let you go, in addition to letting folks know about your location now and your hours, let them know about the new shop location just up on Main Street.
Oh yeah. So I kind of hinted at that like several weeks ago, and I had like 6 or 7 messages from people that were like, you said that you're currently at 920 Commerce Street, but you're going to be moving, or, like, where are you going to be moving to? So yeah, that's where we're moving to. We're going up one street. So it's literally a 10-second walk, up the block. So not hard to find, but it triples our space, which will be really nice. And then it gives us a couple other pretty cool options in terms of, we'll have a classroom set up. So we'll be able to do, a better set up tying classes, then classes as well for different subjects and bringing guides in and, that sort of thing. So looking forward to that. That'll be in the next month or two that we make our move up there. And really that just boils down to how quickly I can build displays. Cause I'm, building everything for up there. But, yeah, that's going to be a cool move. I'm excited for it. We've had the space for about it's been a couple months now that we've, been working on it. So, that'd be cool. Yeah. So I'm sure I will talk more about that as we get closer to it. But again, it's just one street up. And then if you can't find us there, you can always find us online at TaleTellersCA.com, or again, you can also shoot us a message on Instagram, or email or Facebook. I mean, any of that stuff works, and we'll continue to work. None of that changes, even though our physical shop location will change.
Yeah, and you should have plenty of time to make displays now that you're not making poppers.
Yes, that was a terrible decision. I mean, it was fun, but I'm going to wait a while before I do that again. Making 100 of those Chuck Craft Excalibur bugs, that was my whole week. That was shot, just like that. But they're all sold now, so 100 of those things gone and into the hands of many anglers across the eastern United States, which I wasn't expecting to sell them in a week, but what can you do?
Yeah, there you go. Listen, folks, we're starting to get a little bit, some more choices in Central Virginia. You can go out and fish for warm water fish. And, if we get a little bit of rain, you can go high and fish for brook trout. Get out there and catch a few. Tight lines, everybody. Tight lines, Ethan.
Tight lines.